Avon and Somerset Police are a racist police force. They have always been a racist police force. They continue to be a racist police force. But for some reason, accountability isn't served. Now, this makes no sense to me. Over the last 40, 50 years, people have done all what is being, first of all, let me say respect to everybody putting energy into this, right? And anything I say isn't to be disrespectful to anybody or what anybody does, yeah? I'm 52 years old. I've been awarded a state since the age of 2. In and out of care as a young man. I went to 6 secondary schools. I've been all around the city. So I've seen the worst of Bristol's policing all my life. But people fought for the rights that we should have today. We don't need any new laws. The laws have been won, but for some reason, we are not getting recognition for laws that exist. Now, could you imagine a young Jewish boy having to carry around a stop and search thing on their phone? Or do you believe? Could you imagine an institution saying it's institutionally anti-Semitic? But you could be institutionally racist. You do know that racism is illegal. So how do the police say we're institutionally racist? Racism's illegal. The charges should be put against them. So when a police force says they put these things out about how they're targeting people, all the figures we're hearing today, they're similar figures to 30 years ago. So my son in Bristol is 9 times more likely to be stopped by Avon and Somerset Police than a Caucasian child. Well, that's illegal. So why isn't the Chief Constable of Avon and Somerset Police, Andy Marsh, being held accountable or be brought up on charges? Yeah. And why isn't this happening with the education systems? Why are we 34% more in mental health? What? All of this is crazy. The amount of population that we are in the UK population, to the disparity to us being incarcerated, put into mental health, given drugs when we're stopped, lack of concern. So my thing with all of this is about accountability for the police, for the laws that they're currently breaking. And they continue to break. Even the other day in Bristol, so what we had in Bristol, we had an elder tasered in the face for mistaken identity 3 years ago, Ras Judah Dumby. He was walking his dog outside his house. The police approached him thinking he was somebody else. He identified himself, he wasn't. His neighbor was telling the police at the time, this is Ras Judah Dumby. It's not who you're looking for. He lives here. The police refused to acknowledge the information they had been given. And it then resulted in a 64-year-old Rastafarian elder being tasered in the face. Being tasered above the shoulders is illegal. Look up the police's own criteria. Yeah, he was tasered right here. They took case against him. He was then arrested and taken to the police station. When they took him to Patray police station, which is 6 miles from where he lives, and released him in the evening, did they give him a lift home, the 64-year-old elder? Or did they make the 64-year-old elder walk 6 miles home at night on his own after being tasered in his face? I'll leave you to guess which of those two is the right answer. Yeah? Then when it happened, when he's due to go to court, all of a sudden a charge comes up against Ras Judah that he's done a racist assault against somebody else, when the police officer who was being charged for tasing him's case was going to go to court. Finally, when Claire Brodie's case was, she didn't get convicted of any charges, the police officer, but finally after that, the charge put up against Ras Judah for doing a racist assault was suddenly dropped. Yeah, there's no finding to the charge anyway. And then, so this is this case, one case in it. And then I just jumped to December, I think it's about the 17th of December last year, just before Christmas. A young woman boarded a bus in Bristol with a young child in her arms of about 2 years old. And she bought a ticket for £1. The fare was 90p. The bus driver didn't have the 10p change. A little dispute occurred over the 10p change that she should have been given. He then refused to move the bus. He said, you have to get off my bus. I'm not taking you to go and pick up your other child from school. That's what she was going to do. But the mother said, no, I'm not getting off the bus. I paid you. You can't give me my change, but so I won't go to get my child from school. He said he'd called the supervisor to come and talk to sort the situation. So she said, I'll wait for your supervisor to come. Who do we think turned up? The supervisor or the police? So he called the police, instantly antagonizing the situation because she thought she's going to be talking to a bus supervisor. The police come. A dispute comes up between this whole situation. It results in 8 police officers holding a woman on the floor with a child in her arms and then CS gassing her in her face on the bus. She's only 26 years old. And then afterwards, she's arrested, detained, held by the police. Another statement comes out by some of the associates that are meant to speak on our behalf who work with the police, which I've seen over my time in Bristol, that these associates that often say they're working as a buffer between us and the police. No, they just work for the police. No, they don't work for my community and they don't represent us. And loads of these situations over time, they just peter out and they go quiet. So we got the Independent Police Commission, which is still paid by the Home Office, which is assumed people that still pay the police. Why does anybody talk to the IPCC? To me, that's insanity. That's madness. Like, why am I going to go? That's like me bullying you all your life. Yeah, bullying you and battering you. And then when you want to go and get me to stop it, I send you to my brethren. So go and see Lawrence's brethren, man. See if he can sort Lawrence out from slapping you up. But you know Lawrence likes slapping you up, innit? So you know he's not going to do it. So all my thing with this is, for me, it's about accountability. It's about one thing I love that Ken Hines said, and he sees the young men that are mistakenly arrested, which is all the time. He helps to ensure that the police get sued. We need to sue the back out of the police. Every person that's wrongly arrested, we should take a case out against the police. Every single time. Everybody that's stopped for any reason, that's a case. Take a case, take a case. When we start taking heads and salaries away from the police and the chiefs, I bet you all of a sudden they start to do what they should be doing anyway. Yeah, the only way you can affect the police is through their pay packets and their careers, because that's what they live for, and their incredible pensions they get when they leave. You want to see the pensions a police chief constable gets and police inspectors get when they leave? Yeah. Well, how about if we start taking some of their pensions? Because I'll tell you what they've done for me as a young boy growing up. Yeah, they've taken loads of my friends' lives. That's what they've done for me. Yeah, I grew up as a boy who didn't think I could engage into this city, into the system. It didn't want me. I was told growing up, you're no good, Lawrence. There's nothing for you, Lawrence. So I believed it. So where did I make my life? I went to this road. You know, I ran road. And I ran road well. Because anything I do, I try to do well. So when they told me, you're no good, you're just bad, I grabbed that. I'll be bad. You want to see bad? Watch this. Yeah. And that's why the prisons are filled with young children that have loads of energy, but no direction. Yeah. They didn't make me believe that there was any place for me in this world. So I found a sub-world within it to survive. But so many children do. I've got a graveyard in Bristol. I know 35 of the young people in those graves. Yeah. I've got a row of grave headstones that actually run onto each other, but they're laid going parallel. Yeah. It just so happens that 4 of my friends from the ages of 19 to 31, their graves are all in a fucking row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Other children out there, Ken led to it. He said it's about this thing about police don't protect us. No, we get so angry. We see no way to engage. We fight each other because of this just pent up frustration with feeling worthless. Yeah. And a lot of the time, people only care for a certain section of our culture when it spills into their neighborhoods. Otherwise, I'll keep away from St Pauls, that's ghetto. Back in the day, keep away from Brixton, that's ghetto. Keep out of Handsworth, that's ghetto. Keep out of Balsall Heath, that's ghetto. Yeah. But understand what is being bred in there and what is being left in there. So what we used to do, so my local primary school has had, because we've been gentrified, right? But my local primary school had prostitutes selling sex on the school gate at 8:30 in the morning. Go to my YouTube channel, Lawrence Who, on YouTube. Go check some of the videos from 2006-07. I'll show you prostitutes being picked up on the school gates as children walk through the school gates in the morning while police watch. Yeah, so a campaign that I ran in 2005. This is how I know that the laws are here to protect us already, but we're just not given access to it. So about 2005, 2004, John Reed, who was the Home Secretary at the time, said that there were some hostels in the UK that were, their location to places where children are wasn't correct because the people they had were paedophiles, and some of the most high-risk paedophiles were housed in hostels that were adjacent or close to places like nurseries or schools. Just so you know, the hostel in St Pauls, which is Brigstock Road Bail Hostel, which housed some of the most highly dangerous paedophiles in the UK. Oliver Cook was one of them. Look these people up, check all these facts. He was housed in Brigstock Road Bail Hostel. The back wall of Brigstock Road Bail Hostel was St Paul's Nursery. Play garden, the playground to our children's nursery, which was only, the wall's only 7 foot high, but the 4-story Victorian building behind, 3 buildings wide, housed some of the most dangerous paedophiles that could sit in their windows and watch our young children playing in their safe garden. When this was brought to the attention of Avon and Somerset Police and the probation service, they told directly, there's nothing you could do about this. This is just how it is. It moved on a little bit further. John Reed then closed. There was 12 of these bail hostels in the UK. 11 of them got closed. Guess where the one hostel that got left opened was in the whole of the UK? Because one hostel didn't close. Where was it, do you reckon? I bet you it was St Paul's in Bristol. I bet it was the hostel monitored by Avon and Somerset Police. And I can guarantee you that people who've been housed there on sex offenders prevention orders had broken their orders by assaulting children from our community. Check it, it's true. So after doing a campaign where the police came to my door, knocked on my door and said, "Look, anything happens to anybody in that building, we're locking you up." Yeah. I'll tell you what my immediate response was, because I own my property in St Paul's. My response was this: I asked you to come on my fucking land, get off the fucking property, move yourself from me. Yeah, move. Because my property was directly opposite the hostel. Then I had someone that worked in the hostel that gave me all the information about the people in the hostel. So we did a campaign on the streets of Bristol, but we knew we couldn't make a noise because they'd charge us. So we just made massive banners that said all the sayings, all the slogans on the banners, and we peacefully protested. It was before social media and things, so we got over 4,000 signatures from going on the street in Bristol into town, getting people to sign our petition. For 18 months, we tried to get hold of the government and Home Office. We couldn't do it. Then, funny enough, the BBC phoned me one day and said that John Reed's going to Hengrove to talk about a community issue in Hengrove. You know, he's up there. So I rushed the place where he was. I took 8 packs of all the information I had about the hostel and all the crimes that had been committed there and the petition. And I just walked into the building like I was meant to be there. By the time they realized I wasn't meant to be there, it's too late. They didn't want to make an issue with me once I'm in the building. Yeah, but I've got it all on film. So I've got an armed police officer follow me around the place. And I'm there with my 4-year-old son. But I get to give John Reed the petition, yeah, in his hand. And outside is BBC, Sky, ITV, and someone else. Give everybody a pack. There you go. This is what's going on in Bristol. Yeah, all went out there. I think it took a month. Then I believe it was Andy Burnham that came down from government at the time. And he went to the hostel. This is 2007. And then I met him at the back in Cumber, which was our community arts space. And he said, first thing he said to me was, "Oh, we're gonna mist over the rear windows, Lauren." So my immediate reply was this: did they open? His next words were, "What do you want?" I said, exactly what should be right. Those people shouldn't be there. A week later, the hostel was reclassified and all the paedophiles were removed from that building. But know that they weren't meant to be there in the first place. So how I broke it down to Andy Berman is this: they're on sex offenders prevention orders, which state they shouldn't be residing within certain proximity to where children are residing. But then people have committed crimes while they've been housed there. So their negligence. So their negligence is by housing people there, knowing they shouldn't be there by their sex offenders prevention orders. But their negligence has resulted in crimes being committed. So Avon and Somerset Police and Avon Probation Service were criminally negligent in housing these people in the building. That's why they changed it around so quick in 7 days. But just know they've been getting away with that for years. You see, at Bristol City Council, the Probation Service and Avon and Somerset Police all work together in this city. And people will go through things set up by Bristol City Council as a group to say, we're going to talk about things. No, you're all the same. Yeah, I'm tired of it. I'm bored. Yeah, I'm bored of worrying about my children every day they leave their house. So you see, when I was a youth running up and down on road, I don't want to lie, I enjoyed it. I got like, I was excited by road life, street life, and I was free. I was free. And it's a game of cat and mouse, isn't it? So it's like, you don't like me, so fuck you anyway. Catch me. Yeah, because you're going to try and hurt me anyway. But guess what? I'm going to have some fun at the same time while I'm doing this. I swear to God, you will not control me. But then I had a child. I didn't want the child to be me. Yeah. And that's what made me have to change. I'm like, you can't be me. Really, I don't think I'm even meant to be here. Yeah. I know the life I've lived. I know what we've gone through. I know how many of my people gone. My little brother's dead. My other people are dead. Do you know what I mean? And it's just how we've grown, but it's normal. It's numbing to me. It's like in the end, you become just numb. Do you think I ever went to the Black Lives Matter protest on the 7th of June in Bristol? For what? What, you think I'm going to walk and say Black Lives Matter? Really? You think I don't know that mine and my children's lives matter, but I got to walk the street to tell someone else that I'd rather punch you in the face and let you know that my life matters. Yeah, recognize me, feel me, but that's the pain. So this is all when you become uncontrollable. So someone said it before. So I'll give you the reason what I learned. My anger gives them more control. If I'm calm, they can't do nothing to me. So one day back in the day, a little story, I come flying from being at raves, everything up in London. I'm coming back to my friend's house in St Pauls. And as I cut the road just before his yard, I bust straight in front of a riot van. Right? So they picked me up as I pull up outside my friend's house. So they run up to the door of the car. But when he opens the door for the first time in my life, I suddenly just went, I'm sorry, officer. Right? The reason why, because I had a few £1,000 all scrumped up in my pocket. Right? I went, I'm sorry, officer. I was in a hurry. I'm not lying. He stuttered and stumped. All went like this. I just went, oh, okay, Lawrence. Well, all right, just okay. And he walked back to the van. I got out the car, buzzed my friend. I'll buzz you up anyway. It's Ronnie's size. So I buzzed Ronnie. He went, yeah, jumped up in the yard. I'm in the yard. 2-3 minutes. Next thing, brrr, buzzer goes. Oh, is Lawrence there? So he goes, yeah, he's there. Yeah, could you ask Lawrence to come down? We've got a warrant for him. Right? And I'm like, yeah, of course, all right. I just took this £2.5 out of my pocket and put it on the side. I bounced downstairs smiling like this. Yeah. I go, all right, what do you want? Oh, we just need to, for something simple offence, but you've got to come to the station. We'll let you go once you've got it. We just got to mark you. It's just because we find you. Because they couldn't find me because I had no address to live by. Do you know what I mean? Because that's how we live back then. You live in shadows. But all I'm thinking when I'm sat in the back of that riot van with this massive grin on my face from ear to ear, imagine how difficult being booked in with a custody sergeant would have been if you pulled £2.5 out your pocket all crumpled up, compared to the fact you go into the custody sergeant, you would pull out an empty pocket. So and the police actually went to me at that time, you look way too happy to be arrested. I said, you know, I'm not doing nothing this afternoon. This will be all right. But that's the first time I learned that my normal reaction is da 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 da. They control you because it's rage. The moment that I chose to speak to them with manners and respect, they didn't know all their powers of control were gone. They're used to not to go touch us, cuss us or something, and then we could get you for this, get you for that. So I learned later on that you could just talk to them calmly. And I tell you what, it frightens them more than anything. It happened after a year of me filming them, because in the end I ended up doing a film and a book, and I started just filming the police all around my community, filming everything they did. And it's like, and then in the end they'd actually have police go, get away from him. Get away from him. You can't win. You can't win. But before they tried to arrest me, they tried to tell me I can't film them. I said, what do you mean you can't film me? I can't film you. You got a CCTV camera right outside my door. I didn't give you permission to film me. But then what I did, I checked the laws. Public space, I can film you. And even if it's in certain spaces and what is being filmed is to be used to make a case or to bring something to light that wouldn't be brought to light otherwise, wherever that may be, get your cameras out, everybody, you can film it. Yeah, so that's what we did. So my thing with it is, we don't want to be walking down roads that people walked down before. We don't want to be asking or trying to campaign for stuff that's already been done. What we need to see chief constables get sacked. We need to see police get get made accountable for the laws that are in place right now. The fact that they keep getting away is because we don't realize how powerful we are. We're not victims. I hear it all the time. We're not victims. You know about the people that fought for us to be free? Do you know about the revolutionaries and all the people that stood up when they got their heads chopped off, but they stood up for us? We need to check the strength of what we come from as well, yeah, as the brutality that we came from. Because people have stood up when their lives were taken to give us the freedoms we have today. Well, our freedoms weren't given to us. We fought for the freedoms we have today. But after the 60s, we kind of stopped fighting. It got a bit comfortable for some of us. You know, that sometimes I can look at the worst of what we face reflects our own impressions. There's people that eat really well by making no change for us that look exactly like us. So sometimes the buffers are the one, it's like, and they won't live in the communities we live in. I see people want to talk about the community I came from when I was in the community all the time. But I never saw you ever in my community because you were scared to come near us. But they're paying you good money to talk about us. So for me, it's all about accountability. Until I see people being charged, police chiefs getting sacked, police officers being charged, I'm not really interested in any of it. Because if it was a different way, they would just be, we need to come out in mass and make sure they're being charged. And it is painful when you keep seeing America. It takes America to put something on social media for England to recognize that, do you know how many children are killed here? Do you know how many people are killed here? I don't need Kilpatrick to kneel. Yeah. And even with the disturbance around what happened with the person who died, who was killed last, I found it really disturbing that a man was killed by someone kneeling on his neck for 8 minutes, 40 odd seconds, and then people kneeled to honor the person. Who were they honoring? The policeman that killed him or the man who was killed under the knee? I get that Colin kneeled because he was meant to stand up. But I'd have loved it if for Floyd, everybody stood up with their fist up high, but they kneeled. And every time I seen someone kneel, I saw his neck under their knee. But sometimes we look for the quick response, not really thinking it through. So I found kneeling for Floyd so disturbing, so disturbing. A man who died under the knee of an officer. I'm sorry, the whole thing gets me upset. When I started, I was calm as I go through it because it just seems too long. We've been going too long. We deserve better. We're so much more powerful than we are told over and over again. And if we all actually came together as one, you do know that we're only policed by consent as well, everybody, yeah? You know it's by consent. You know their numbers are so few compared to ours. Yeah, if you're asking for change, if we're still asking for change, we're still oppressed. It's time to demand for the changes we want, and we come together and stand there. Yeah, and otherwise we're going to lose more and more and more and more of our children. And I'm not prepared to hang around to watch my children suffer. I'm definitely not my grandchildren. So I'm just going to cut there because I'll go on forever. Love to everybody still.